everyone, let's take a break from books for just 1 second, to talk about my favorite thing. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy is my favorite TV show of all time and probably one of my favorite things in media, actually my favorite thing in media ever. And I want to talk to you about it. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 7 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with you. I couldn't do 5 or 10, it just didn't work out. I had to just pick 7. This video is basically just going to be me gushing about how much I love these episodes and taking a little trip down memory lane with you all. So if you've not watched Buffy, this is completely spoilery, very spoilery. Do not watch this if you haven't watched Buffy. If you haven't watched Buffy, go watch Buffy. That's what you should do. I'm going in order from least to greatest, so coming in at number 7 is the episode Hush from season 4. It's no surprise that Hush is on this list. Hush is a very critically acclaimed episode. I believe it's the only Buffy episode to ever be nominated for an Emmy. This episode is of course when the villains, the gentlemen, come to town and take away everyone's voices so that when they rip the hearts out of those people, no one can hear them scream. Ooh. And of course hilarity ensues because no one can speak, so we have this awesome silent episode. I love all of the funny moments that this miscommunication brings, such as when Xander sees Spike and he thinks he's trying to bite Anya and freaks out. There's so many great moments in this episode that are hilarious. But also the gentlemen are amazing. They're freaking creepy and they float across the ground. This is also, is this the first episode we see Tara in? It might be the second episode we see Tara in, but it's the first episode where we kind of get to know Tara, so that's cool. Also, at the end is the first time we see Buffy and Riley seeing each other fighting and being like, what are you doing here? I don't know, what are you doing here? You have a secret. So that's cool too. A lot happens in this episode. I love it. Coming in at number 6 is Graduation Day Part 1 and 2, which is the season 3 finale. Season 3 is my favorite season. I think it's such a solid season. I love Buffy and Faith's epic fight where they're handcuffed together. It's great. And then Angel is poisoned and has to feed from Buffy, and then Buffy and Faith are in the same hospital and it's crazy. But my favorite part of this episode is a quote at the end where Oz says, "We survived," and Buffy says, "It was one hell of a battle," and Oz says, "Not the battle, high school." That quote epitomizes what Buffy is about. Coming in at number 5 is The Gift, which is the season 5 finale. Oh, this episode. Give me a minute. Season 5, once again. Incredible season. The last like 3 or 4 episodes leading up to The Gift are incredible. It's like a train ride that just doesn't stop. We have all the characters like traveling in that camper together and then they have to stay in that gas station and Giles is dying and Buffy's in a coma and it's, oh. I love Glory. Glory is my favorite big bad. She's awesome, and the reason I love her so much is because for the first time, at least for me, this is the first time we've been like, Buffy can't beat her. There's no way Buffy can beat her, like really. And she doesn't. I mean, she stops the portal from opening, but it's at the cost of her life. And Buffy dies, and she gives Dawn that epic speech at the end, the hardest thing in this world is to live in it, and, okay. I can't even talk about it anymore. I'm moving on to number 4, which is Becoming, parts 1 and 2, which is the season 2 finale. This is the last finale on my list. Once again, man, once again, I remember watching this for the first time and just, I mean, sobbing. So much goes down in these episodes, I can't even talk about it all. I love seeing Buffy when she first becomes the Slayer. I love that we have that flashback of seeing her first become the Slayer in that puffy orange jacket, barely being able to kill a vampire. And then we get to see a lot of Angel's past. That's all really cool. Craziness is happening. Willow's in the hospital and Xander gave her that sweet speech, but then Oz is there too, and I love Oz, so I'm like, oh, I'm torn. And then, obviously, we have the Buffy and Angel fight. And the worst part is that he comes back and it's him and he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, Buffy, what's going on? And she has to do it anyway. Sarah Michelle Gellar in that scene, man. Oh, Sarah. And then Giles is being tortured. One of my favorite Buffy moments of all time is Spike and Buffy's mom Joyce's interaction in that episode where Buffy tells her mom that Spike is a member of a band with her. And he tells her that he like plays the triangle. Oh, and they're sitting in that room together and the mom's like, have you ever thought of not being a Slayer? Now we're getting to the top 3. I can't, my emotions are barely stable at this point, so I'm a little worried to talk about these. Number 3 is Innocence from season 2. So as we all know, this is the episode where Angel gets evil. So much character development and craziness is jam-packed into this episode. We have the scene where Willow finds Xander and Cordelia kissing and gives him that speech like, we're members of the I Hate Cordelia Club in which you are the treasurer, which is a great moment. Then we have the moment where Willow asks Oz to kiss her because she's jealous, and the speech Oz gives her, My gosh, Oz. I love Oz, as I mentioned. And that speech is beautiful and wonderful, and Willow falls in love with him in that moment. Then we have the wonderful, sweet speech that Giles gives to Buffy in the car. But my favorite moment from that episode is the scene in the mall where the water is pouring down and Buffy and Angel are having that epic fight, and she has the chance to kill him, and Angel's like, you can't do it, you can't kill me. And she kicks him in the nuts, and then as she walks away, she says, give me time. Yes, girl. Then number 2 is the body from season 5. I'm sure you are all aware, this is the episode where Buffy's mom dies. Where to begin? I think this is the most flawless hour of television I've ever seen in my life. I might be biased, but there is no music in this episode at all, no background music, which just makes it eerie and sad and uncomfortable and so real. The scene where Buffy finds her mom, there are no cuts. It's one take for like 5 minutes. And so Sarah Michelle Gellar is giving us basically just this live performance. This is so random, but I love the fact that Buffy like walks away and throws up. I don't know why I love that so much, but I feel like it's something that like I would never think of. Like if I were a writer, who thinks of that? I would never think of that, but it's so perfect. Then we have Anya's monologue, which is beautiful because her character just doesn't understand what's going on. But my favorite scene in the body is this random little scene that isn't talked about much, but I love it, between Tara and Buffy. Tara tells Buffy that she has also been through the loss of her mom, and Buffy asks her, was it sudden? And Tara says no. And yes, it's always sudden. Brilliant. Brilliant. And true. And my number 1 favorite Buffy episode, very cliche answer, but I love it, and that would be Once More with Feeling from season 6. This is the musical episode, and me being a big musical theater person anyway, I was very excited about this episode because I knew it was coming and I was so excited. This episode changed TV in a lot of ways. It paved the way for all of the musical episodes that we know, like the Scrubs musical and all that. It's great from beginning to end. It's fast-paced, there's never a dull moment, every character has their chance to shine. It's a very ensemble-driven episode. I love the music. I have the soundtrack. I listen to it all the time. Every song is good. My favorite song is probably Xander and Anya's song, I'll Never Tell. This episode is so funny. It's hilarious. The first time I watched it, I remember when Anya started belting out about bunnies, I about lost it. I was dying, and that's like only in the first 5 minutes. But I also love that it moves the story forward. Like as these characters are singing, they are telling all these secrets that they can't keep in. Like the songs are making them tell the truth, and you get a lot of plot development. I love the overture, and I love how they changed the opening credits just for this episode, and it's the only happy moment in season 6, so yeah, oh, if we would have known what was coming. I hope I wasn't too obnoxious and annoying in this video, but you don't know how much I love Buffy. I guess you do know how much I love Buffy now because you've experienced this weirdness, but I love it. If you want to talk about Buffy with me in the comments, I would love to, because I have a lot to say, as you can probably tell. Bye!